What if everything you fear is something you helped create? We came from the same universe that formed the stars, the oceans, the soil, and the air. Our bodies are not separate from it. They are expressions of energy, vibration, and life itself. In the same way, thought is also vibration. Every image we create in the mind carries energy, and those images begin shaping the reality we experience. Look at dreaming. When you're chased in a dream, your heart races, your muscles tense, your breath changes, your body reacts as if the danger is real. But the moment you wake up, the entire world that frightened you disappears. The image dissolves. While you were dreaming, it felt absolutely real, yet it was created by the mind. The same mechanism operates during the day. We create images about money, success, sickness, enemies, failure, nationality, and identity. We react emotionally and physically to those images as if they are ultimate truth. But often, we are responding not to reality itself, only to mental constructions. Modern humanity lives inside powerful collective images. Images of ownership, images of borders, images of enemies, images of status and control. We say, "This is my land, my house, my money." But if we truly own these things, could we take them with us when we die? Everything we claim eventually returns to the earth. At best, we are temporary users of what already belongs to nature. Even nationality is an image. From an airplane, there are no borders, no lines separating countries. Birds do not carry passports. Mountains do not recognize flags. Yet humans fight, kill, and divide themselves over symbols that exist only because we agree they do. This does not mean social systems are useless. It means they are relative, not absolute. The suffering begins when we mistake symbols for ultimate reality. One of the strongest illusions is the belief in enemies. In medicine, we speak of viruses attacking, bacteria invading, genes betraying us. In politics, we speak of hostile nations. In daily life, we label people as threats. Once we accept the idea of enemies, everything becomes a battlefield. We create weapons in war and in medicine. We defend, attack, eliminate. The language is the same everywhere. But what if the true enemy is not outside? What if the real enemy is self-delusion? When something goes wrong, we often refuse to look inward. I am a good person. I did nothing wrong. So the cause must be external fate, viruses, bad luck, other people. Yet illness, imbalance, and conflict often reflect conditions we ourselves create through lifestyle, food, thought, and behavior. This does not mean blaming ourselves with guilt. It means recognizing responsibility. Suffering is not punishment. It is feedback. Modern society trains people to sell time for money, to chase status, to pursue security at the cost of peace. Many feel trapped working endlessly inside systems that feel empty. The result is anxiety, burnout, depression, yet we rarely question the image driving this lifestyle. Hell is not a place after death. It is a state of mind created by fear, competition, blame, and constant struggle. When we see the world as hostile, we experience hostility. When we see threats everywhere, we live in tension. But beneath all these images, there is something unchanged, like a blue sky behind passing clouds. Thoughts come and go like clouds. When they gather, the sky appears dark. When they clear, the sky was never damaged. When we stop creating images for even a moment in deep silence or meditation, we reconnect with a deeper reality that is not divided, not threatened, not owned. Some call it consciousness. Some call it God. Some call it the universe. Words are secondary. The experience is what matters. Food plays a far greater role in this than most people realize. Every thought depends on blood chemistry. Every emotion depends on the nervous system. When the body is overstimulated by excessive sugar, processed foods, and artificial substances, perception becomes unstable. Emotional highs and crashes distort clarity. Anxiety and aggression increase. What we call normal stress may simply be biochemical imbalance. The gut, often called the second brain, influences mood, immunity, and even decision-making. When digestion is disturbed, emotional stability weakens. When nourishment is balanced and natural, clarity returns. Calm thinking becomes possible. Diet is not just physical, it shapes consciousness. When illusion begins to fall away, something very simple appears: gratitude. Not forced gratitude, not moral obligation, but spontaneous appreciation. Appreciation for parents, for ancestors, for soil, water, sunlight, and food, for breath itself. When gratitude becomes natural, fear weakens, competition softens. Helping others no longer feels like sacrifice, it feels natural. Compassion arises without effort. The words angel or higher being do not describe supernatural creatures. They describe human maturity. A person whose ego has softened. A person who helps because helping feels aligned. A person whose presence brings calm instead of chaos. This potential exists in everyone. What blocks it is confusion, overstimulation, attachment to false identity, obsession with image. Awakening is not becoming something new. It is remembering what we already are, expressions of the same universe we fear. The earth is not separate from heaven. This world, when seen clearly, is already paradise. It becomes hell only through distortion. Change the image, and experience changes. Stop fighting the universe, and the feeling of being attacked disappears. Stop clinging to ownership, and fear of loss weakens. Stop inventing enemies, and conflict loses its foundation. Reality is not only what happens to us, it is deeply influenced by how we perceive, interpret, and respond. When clarity returns through awareness, responsibility, balanced nourishment, and gratitude, happiness is no longer something postponed for the future. It appears in breathing, in walking, in eating, in simple human connection. Perhaps the question is not how to fix the world. Perhaps the question is, what image are we carrying right now? Because the world we experience may be a reflection of that image. And if that is true, then awakening begins within.